طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Inshallah, let's get started. If we have any questions tonight pertaining to the month of Ramadan and fasting, Wallahu azza wa jalla alam. First question comes from F.A. from Ali, or F Ali from London, UK. Is donating blood allowed while fasting? Stay away from that. Don't do that if you don't have to. Donating blood is based off of an older issue, the issue of al-hijama, the issue of cupping. Does cupping break the fast or not? Scholars of Islam of the past, they differ on this issue. And the safest view, and perhaps the strongest view, فَقَدْ أَفْطَرَ الْحَاجِمُ وَالْمَحْجُومُ. The cupper and the cupped have both broken their fast. Whether it means that the cupping itself is the thing that nullifies the fast, the loss of the amount of blood, or whether it is an issue of that the person who gets cupped will need to break his or her fast because of the loss of blood, lack of energy, fatigue, and exhaustion. So the safest thing to do is not to donate blood. Donating blood could be compared to al-hijama, cupping, and the scholars of Islam, they differ. You can't lose by avoiding it. If it's a necessity, then that's one thing. And if it is a necessity, the safest thing to do is to make up the fast. Wallahu alam. طيب. Next question here is coming from UT London, UK. How do two women perform Taraweeh together at home if there's no male present? Does one lead while praying beside each other? Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. If there's two, you feel all the best way you know how. With regards to three women and Aisha radiallahu anha standing in front of the women, as is narrated in some athar, some narrations, not prophetic narrations, athar mawqufa, narrations of the Sahaba, and some scholars, they allow that. And if we don't have that narration of Aisha, or if the narration of Aisha is only pertaining to three or more women, or if the action of Aisha is not a proof and an evidence, then we go back to the generality of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's commands and his instructions with regards to the jumu'ah, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's actions with regards to the jumu'ah, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's statement, إِنَّمَا النِّسَاءُ شَقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ. Women are nothing more than the twins of men. Wallahu alam. Question is from M.A. from Bronx, New York. Can we pray Jumu'ah at one since 3 masjid closed? Fair law, the best way you know how. Jumu'ah is an obligation upon a man who is a resident, a man who's a free man, a man who's healthy, a man who's not sick or traveling, etc. It's mandatory. And the Prophet ﷺ gave a severe warning against missing Jumu'ah consecutively, back to back. So therefore, make the Jumu'ah in the best way that you can, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu alam. طيب. Question is from Ismail. Please mention your last name or your last initial, brother Ismail. Jazakallahu khairan. UA from London. Does a woman who is struggling to breastfeed need to fast during Ramadan and preserve with nursing, or fast instead? She's struggling to breastfeed. While you're struggling to breastfeed, what's meant by that? That you don't have enough milk for your child, and fasting is going to deplete your milk source even more? Or even at best, when you're not fasting, you still don't have enough milk for your child. So if you don't have enough milk for your child, even when you do eat and drink, you might as well fast. As far as if you're just making it, you're barely getting by, it's enough milk that you can produce, and you need the nutrients, then break your fast. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Wallahu alam. AH from London, UK. Do I have to keep ties of kinship with my father who's divorced from my mom? He has caused my mom a lot of pain. Let's move on to the next question pertaining to fasting in Ramadan. Hopefully we'll come back to that, inshallah ta'ala. Right, says here, AS New York City, Bronx. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. What's the best time to make dua in Ramadan? Make dua all of the time. There are certain narrations that state that a person is to make dua before one breaks one's fast. All right, labats, inshallah ta'ala. But make dua whenever you can. The general rules of making dua the third of the night, rain coming down. There are many narrations regarding this. What's important is find the best time that's best for you, that's easiest for you, inshallah ta'ala, whether it be in your sujood, whether it be before you make the salams and tashahhud, whether it be on the day of Jumu'ah, the Imam getting on the minbar, between the khutbahs, sa'atul ijabah. All right, there are many prime time, prime zones for the dua in and out of the month of Ramadan. طيب, question in regards to tayammum, moving forward. طيب. Says, question is from Ronald Krim. Assalamu alaikum. Z-A-Y is Yahya, St. Louis, Missouri. Should be reading along with recite. If my Arabic is not good, it's not that clear. J.A. from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is investing in real estate Islamically even possible in the West? I think it's possible. I'm not an expert, but I think it's possible. I think that there are certain investments that are clean, that are free from haram and unlawful things. Are they in abundance? Are they the majority? Not necessarily. Are there certain sacrifices and difficulties that you have to go through? For sure. But you'll find some type of permissible way to invest by Allah's permission. That's what I believe from my limited knowledge of real estate. And the concept of Muslim being a stranger, the concept of the worldly life and this life and hereafter, you please one, you anger another, etc., is a reality. Once a brother, he came to me and he was asking about the concept of mortgage, paying a mortgage. I pay rent. The rent is higher than the mortgage. I don't own anything. I live in a really bad neighborhood. My kids, I'm scared of drugs and crime. I'm scared of my young daughter going out and being, disrespecting herself and her body, etc. And I went and I looked into some homes, and the halal homes, the homes that have no mortgage, the homes that he says those are in the worst neighborhoods, just like the neighborhood that I'm living in. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Allah musta'an. DK from Lorton, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum. Are the virtues of Taraweeh greater than tahajjud? If one can only pray one due to wanting to pray with ihsan, which is recommended. Is there a difference between the two? That's a question that you have to ask. Is tahajjud Taraweeh a different number of prayers? A different type of prayer? All right. What's important is, regardless whether they are or whether they aren't, because that's a discussion, prioritize. We always encourage Muslims to prioritize. All right. You can't make every single voluntary prayer, every single voluntary fast, every single voluntary. So prioritize. This is good for me. Sadaqah is best for me, then extra fast. Extra fast is better than me, than seeking knowledge. Seeking knowledge and teaching knowledge is better for me than making extra hajj and extra umrah. Wahakada. You got to prioritize. You have to prioritize with regards to the recommended acts, what's best for you and what brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which you have more natural inclination towards. That's what I would say. Wallahu alam. M-E-M. Tayyib. I don't know what happened. As soon as I clicked on the brother's question, it just Tayyib. Birmingham, UK. As a youngster, my grandmother gifted me 50 pounds for reading the Quran. In fact, I skipped many pages, but later I finished, alhamdulillah. Shall I give her the money back? Take the money, keep the money, inshallah. And next time, do the whole thing, inshallah. E in Melbourne, Australia. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. What's the response to the argument that there's no qiyas between leather and business socks? Well, let's move forward to the Ramadan questions. We'll come back to that, inshallah ta'ala. Did the Sahaba know social distancing? Nazia H, Toronto, Canada. Not pertaining to fasting. AH, London, UK. Is obligatory to make up the adhan? Nah. Tayyib. Salam AJ from Manchester, UK. Does our deeds get cancelled out for missing Asr prayer or deeds for that day, which may cancel our fast for that day? Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We've done a video just on this topic on HadithDisciple with regards to that narration. Whoever leaves Asr, his prayers will be null and void. What's meant by that hadith? In brief, Hafiz bin Hajar, he says that perhaps the strongest understanding of that hadith is that it doesn't mean that a person has become a kafir and that a person has lost all his deeds, but it means that a person, the Prophet ﷺ is warning us from abandoning the Asr. and unnecessarily delaying Salat al-Asr. What's important is if you missed Asr, make Tawbah immediately. Okay? And inshallah ta'ala, if you apostate from Islam, you come back to Islam, you'll keep your deeds no matter what. Bidnillah. Wallahu alam. That's in brief. FA, Michigan, USA. How do I know which scholars to trust? Moving forward. Tayyib. Ibrahim Al-Qaqqa, Augusta, Georgia. I'm studying fasting according to the Hanbali madhab. Is it okay to stick with this for Ramadan, or do I need to broaden my studies? Act upon what you know. If you've studied that, you follow that, inshallah ta'ala, until proven otherwise. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. Zahir Hassan. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. DH Toronto, Canada. Who has more reward? The one who recites the Quran during the day of Ramadan, or the Quran reciter at night? Allah knows best, for sure. But the nighttime has many virtues. Fajr has many virtues. The wee hours of the night have many virtues over the daytime. Wallahu alam. ZOS. Tayyib. FA, Michigan. Tayyib. Tayyib. FA. Tayyib. Question is from EA Valenciennes, France. Assalamu alaikum. What advice can you give to someone fasting who used to drink multiple cafes or tea during the normal days? Alaikum salam to Allah. You gotta fight yourself. Fasting in the beginning is going to be a little uncomfortable. It's going to be a little unconventional. Me, myself, I'm a heavy tea drinker. Sometimes I drink coffee. I like coffee. I enjoy coffee, cappuccino, hot chocolate. But I'm definitely addicted to tea. There's no question about that. So fasting, of course, one of the things that I'm saying is being honest. One of the things that I may miss most, and would maybe one of the biggest struggles in fasting for me, is drinking tea. My tea in the morning, my tea in the afternoon, my tea in the evening. All right, this type of cold iced tea, this type of green tea, this roasted rice tea. I have different teas. Teas what I drink with food, teas that I drink when I'm driving, teas when I drink for energy, teas that I drink to calm me down, etc. So there are many different uncomfortable things in Ramadan, but that's a part of the jihad al-nafs that you have to perform. You have to fight yourself. And once you fight yourself, bid'Allah ta'ala, with the sincere intention and the proper knowledge, Allah will make things easy. All right, and لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. Allah says you will not obtain piety until you spend from that which is fond to you, that which you love. So give it up for Allah. Allah will give you better. Allah will make it easy. All right, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one footstep. One day, week by week, month by month, year by year, and you'll overcome that, inshallah ta'ala. And perhaps when you have your coffee, Allah will allow you to enjoy it more. And most importantly, you make dua that Allah will give you the wine of paradise, the water of paradise, the honey of paradise, the milk of paradise, the drinks of paradise. Wallahu alam. Question is from Muhammad from Brooklyn, New York. What is the ruling on a husband asking his wife to lead him in Taraweeh because he had a stroke and suffers from loss of memory and speech issues? A woman should not lead her husband in Salah, period. If it's not a mandatory prayer, recommended prayer, she should not lead her husband in prayer, period. The man is the imam of the masjid. If the husband cannot pray by himself, if the wife knows more Quran, then you deal with the situation accordingly. Taraweeh is not obligatory. She makes prayer by herself. If he needs someone to pray with him, a brother can come over, a family member, a son, etc. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. The question is from Adil Talib from DC. Does applying Vicks or vapor rub affect the fast? It's either going to be food, drink, or that which pertains to food and drink. Does the Vicks vapor rub give you energy? Does it give you nutrition? Or does it just open things up? And vapor, allowing vapor to come in or go out or even give you vapor. If that's the case, that does not break the fast, just like other types of vapor. Whether it's a humidifier in your home, you have a baby, or you have asthma or something like this, whatever the case may be, whatever issue you may have, an inhaler, etc. It doesn't necessarily break the fast. Wallahu alam. FN from Arlington, Virginia. I lead Taraweeh at home and pray with my family. They want me to pray 20 rak'ats. Should I still lead them or pray 8 and plus 3 alone? They also don't want to pray witr and 2. If you're the imam, you're the imam. If you know the most Quran, or you're the male, or you have the most knowledge, they are to listen to you, obey you, follow you, trust you. So you explain to them that there are different styles of making prayer at night, different ways of Taraweeh. You can make 2, you can make 4. One is fard, different ways of doing it. All right, do whatever's easy. And if you're the imam, you dictate. All right, you're the leader. They're not the leader. I don't care if it's your mother or your father. If you're the most knowledgeable person, they have to submit to you. And they have to take your advice, and you have to establish that to them. Wallahu alam. Abdul Hakim Ganya Damorilla, Fort Worth, Texas. Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. I want to thank you for nasiha about learning Arabic. Today I can listen to Arabic lectures and understand most. Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you, and may Allah make you stronger. Ameen. AH from London, UK. What is the best way to pray Taraweeh? Straight after Isha or last third of the night? It depends on your schedule and your ability. You got to work tomorrow. You want to be with your husband, your wife. You have kids. You have to prioritize. Mix it up. Diversify. One time make it after Isha. Another time make it later on at night. Go to sleep, wake up. Whatever is easy for you. Whatever gets you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's important is that the word Sharia, the scholars, they say, comes from obviously Shara, and Shara coming from Shara. And from the meanings of Shara, and Shara is a wide, expansive, broad, clear road. A road that's big, it's wide, it's expansive. So there's so many different ways of going to Jannah. So many ways of pleasing Allah. You can be a warrior, a mujahid fi sabilillah. You can be a scholar. You can be one who been a benefactor of Islam. Spend money. Okay? You can raise children. It's so much that you can do, and it's all khair. So do what's best for your time, your environment, your body, your culture. You prioritize, inshallah. The sunnah is vast. Wallahu alam. And one of the problems that we suffer from is making things so vast, so small. You have to do it this way. You can only do it that way. You can only say it like this. You have to do it like this. You have to wear this type of clothes. You have to wear this color. La. Sunnah is expansive, and there's so many ways of doing things, as long as they're all proven in the sunnah. As far as that which is outside of the hadiths, no. If it's only one way, so be it. There's only one aqidah, but there's so many other schools. This college, they say it. These great scholars from this country, they say it. This imam, this is the oldest university in the world. Abadan. If it's outside of the text, it is of no value. If it's inside of the hadiths, inside of the text, alhamdulillah, you mix it up, you diversify. There's no sin upon you. Wallahu alam. IE, Philadelphia, PA. Please, can you have a sign or something stating that questions should relate to Ramadan, or maybe it can be in the title. Barakallahu feek. Jazakallahu khairan. We announced it, and we'll announce it again. We're trying to take questions pertaining to Ramadan and fasting. That's the preference. If we get done them and we have time, we'll go back to the other ones. Thank you very much. Mushfiq Ahmed, assalamu alaikum, from Woodside, New York. I'm trying to learn and read Arabic. Moving forward. Tayyib. This question could pertain to Taraweeh. Machiavelli 8. Where you coming from, brother? Tayyib. Sawiz Ahmadi from Edenhoven, the Netherlands. If you borrow money, who needs to pay the zakat on it? Like the last question about sitting down, perhaps that can pertain to Ramadan. Many Muslims, they choose to pay their zakat in Ramadan, like we've explained before. It's not a mandatory or obligatory, but it's a virtuous month. Scholars, they differ on this issue. Someone who owes you money, do you have to pay the zakat on the money? You know you're going to get the money back, inshallah. You feel confident about it. You have the money to give it and pay it, even though the other money is with the other person. Best thing to do is to pay zakat. Safest thing to do is to pay the zakat. Nothing wrong with paying the zakat on the money that someone owes you. As far as there's a hardship, meaning a brother owes me $2,000. And that $2,000 adds to my nisab that I already have. But I don't have all of the money in my clutch to pay for let's say, Methadan, I only have $5,000 in my possession. Right? I have $5,000 in my possession. And this brother here, he owes me 2,000. So my nisab is 7,000 US. So I don't have enough money. I can't afford it. I have other bills and expenses after the 12 months, whatever the case may be. I can't pay for $7,000 of the nisab. I can only pay for 5. Versus, I have the money to pay for 7,000. It's not going to harm me. La bas. You get the money back, you take it, that's fine. Wallahu alam. Hopefully that's clear, inshallah. Hanad Sharmark or Sharmarke from Ottawa, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How does one tell if they're too sick to fast or being weak? It should be a combination, inshallah, between the learned scholar of Islam and between the learned scholar of medicine. Seek their counsel, even if the doctor isn't a Muslim, as long as the doctor is a professional. And FYI, you'll find in many fiqh views and fiqh opinions, they say a Muslim scholar has to say it, a Muslim doctor has to say, a Muslim doctor has to give, that was in a time in which the Muslims had their own. The Muslims live individually. The Muslims live separately. The Muslims had their own armies and militaries. The Muslims had their own economy. Nowadays, we're intertwined with the non-Muslims. The guy who picks up my trash is a non-Muslim. All right, the people I buy my food from to throw into the trash, the garbage, is non-Muslim. Okay, the one who fixes my car is a non-Muslim. The one who builds my house, who fixes my house, is a non-Muslim. My children study with a non-Muslim. My chiropractor is a non-Muslim. It's difficult to say that it has to be a Muslim doctor. All right, let alone many Muslim doctors, unfortunately, they don't even want to be recognized as Muslims. You say assalamu alaikum to them, they look at you like you're funny. Or they look at you, they give you a bad look because you're covered up. All right, or some Muslim doctors, they talk ignorantly. I went to the doctors once. I was sick. I went to get, tested and checked out, COVID-19, the flu. And the doctor, he came into the room and he asked questions. And so the doctor, he says, brother, there's no namaz, brother. He says, Allah understands. There's no namaz. He said, his words were, he says, even Allah understands that there's no namaz. What am I going to listen to someone talking so foolishly that Allah understands? Allah knows everything. How is there no prayer because of COVID-19? He said, Hajj is canceled. Everything's canceled, brother. Don't go to the mosque, even though you're imam. Allah understands. So the basic knowledge of Islam, so many Muslims lack, including doctors. So oftentimes a non-Muslim doctor may be more open, more professional, more objective, and may give you more respect than a Muslim doctor, unfortunately. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. So what's important is, inshallah ta'ala, seek the counsel from the learned person of Islam and the learned person of medicine. And as far as if it's something that you don't necessarily need a fatwa for, you know that you're weak, it's weakening you, it's hurting you, you've studied the basics, then that's a different story. All right, so you have to use a type of discretion. Wallahu alam. Or discernment, Type. Questions from FA, Michigan, USA. Does masturbation break the fast? And are the devils locked up during Ramadan because many people do evil things? Avoid masturbating, period. In and outside of Ramadan. Avoid it. Stay away from it. Inside of the month of Ramadan, you should avoid it even more. Does it break the fast? Safest to stay away from. If you masturbate and you ejaculate, you should make up your fast. There's a discussion among the people of knowledge regarding that issue. Does masturbation break fasting? Does ejaculating from masturbation break fasting? Scholars, they discuss that issue. I'm not going to open up a can of worms right now. Stay away from it. Ask Allah to protect you from it. Get married, fast, control yourself, and use discipline. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. As far as why do people do different evil things in the daytime, at nighttime, the shayateen are locked down. The Prophet ﷺ says, وَصُفِّدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. Devils are locked down. Done. All of the devils, the evil ones, what's important there are some devils locked down. People do evil things not just because of the devil. People do evil things because of themselves. وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. Sometimes if the devil has whispered to them so much, he doesn't have to whisper to them anymore. So there are other causes of evil besides shaitan. And Allah surely knows best. Scholars have a discussion on that issue with regards to what that hadith means. Tayyib. Sarah Sanchez, Silver Spring, Maryland. Do you call the iqamah for Taraweeh with my family? No iqamah for Taraweeh. No adhan and no iqamah for that. Question about nasal spray. Please mention your initials and your country. And we said nasal spray doesn't break the fast, inshallah ta'ala. And there's difference of opinion among the modern day scholars regarding that issue. Tayyib. If brothers are coming to the masjid, Hafsa, where are you coming from, please? FA from Michigan, USA. My Muslim neighbor is Shia and she gives us food for Ramadan. Should we give her food back? How should it be? Try to give your neighbor advice. Try to get them to leave alone their Shiism. Try to explain to them the Quran and Hadith. Try to explain to them what Islam is. Okay? If they give you food and it's meat and they don't want to listen, or they're not accepting your dawah, and they're not violent, they're not trying to hurt you or harm you or poison you or things like this, ask him to give you fish. Ask him to give you fish. Tell him we're trying to eat more fish. Try to avoid it. If you can't directly cure the situation and solve the problem, then at least use some type of hikmah, inshallah. If there's no way of getting around it, whether it's a Shiite, a Rafidi, or a total outward non-Muslim, whatever the case may be, tell him you want fish. Tell him me and my kids are eating more fish. Do whatever you can. All right, what's important is living with Shiites is a reality in the Middle East and the West as well. Use hikmah, use gentleness, give dawah. Many Shiite people, they're Shiite because their families were Shiites. They're Shiites because that's how they were taught, that's how they were brought up. They don't know any better. Give dawah. Udu ila sabili rabbika. Call them, invite them, try to teach them. And the biggest concept of Shiism, or one of the biggest concepts, is Ali radiallahu anhu. Just stop and have a discussion with Ali and show them how bad they make Ali look. There are other problems that they have. They have this problems with Allah, with the Qadr, the Quran, many issues. But just talk about Ali. Ali was just some punk. He was a weakling. The companions, they bullied him. They pushed him out the way. They took the Khilafah. They stripped him of this. They made him suffer. They killed his children. They did this. What respect do you really give to Ali? Because the Sunnis respect Ali. And we give the status that Ali radiallahu anhu deserves, that he was a lion, Sametni. He said, the poetry says, my mother, she gave me a nickname, Haydara. She called me a lion. That's how brave I was. And I was brought up to be fearless. Fear nothing but Allah. The sword of Ali radiallahu anhu, the scimitar, the different types of swords that they have, Dhul Fiqar, so on and so forth. Ali was a brave warrior, fearless warrior. He wasn't some type of pushover. And when you read what they say about Ali, they took this from him. He was supposed to be the leader and he did nothing about it. They killed his... What respect do you give to Ali? So if you want to talk about Ali and Ahlul Bayt, Ahlul Sunnah, the Sunnis, they give more respect to Ali. If you really break it down and look at it. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. This will probably be our last question. We have to stop to get ready to break our fast. Tayyib. FA from Michigan, USA. Does the sticky stuff that comes out when you get a sexual erect break the fast? You should avoid becoming sexually aroused in the month of Ramadan. If you're married, you're just newly married, or your wife is attractive to you, your husband is handsome and attractive to you, stay away from it. Don't kiss your wife, don't touch your wife, don't touch your husband. Control your thoughts. If you're watching stuff that gives you an erection and makes you have pre-seminal fluid, or called pre-cum, don't watch that stuff. Stay away from that stuff. Whatever it may be, speech, thoughts, anything that's going to get you sexually aroused. Control yourself. And the shaitan attacks you through your thoughts. All right? As far as if you do get an erection, or a woman, she has pre-seminal fluid, or some type of moistness, or whatever the case may be, then avoid it, inshallah ta'ala. Does it break the fast? I wouldn't necessarily say that. It is not ejaculation. It is not ejaculation. It's not the same. And even there are different discussions with regards to certain types of ejaculation, as we've explained. A wet dream, or the scholars argue with regards to masturbation, etc. It's not sexual intercourse. So hopefully it does not break the fast, but the Muslim is responsible for protecting and preserving his or her fast. Allah surely knows best. Subhanakallahumma hamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Thank you very much for tuning in.